It was the thud of the mailbox that changed everything. That ordinary Wednesday morning in South Boston had begun like any other: gray skies, the distant wail of the tea, and the lingering smell of sea salt and car exhaust wafting through our drafty kitchen window. I was sipping my coffee, black, no sugar, and flipping through the grocery store circulars when the mail landed. I found the envelope tucked between a medical bill and a coupon for Dunkin'. Thick. Expensive. My name, Claire Donnelly, written in unfamiliar cursive. No return address. Inside was a bank statement, no explanation, no note, just numbers. My fingers trembled as I read the balance $3, 245, 812.62. I reread the name on the account, Joseph Donnelly. My husband. My legs nearly gave out as I slumped into the kitchen chair, the air sucked from the room. Joe. My Joe. My husband of 11 years. The man who drove a dented '09 Corolla, who claimed we couldn't afford to fix the leaky roof last winter, who guilted me out of buying a $30 sweater for my birthday. $3 million. I clutched the envelope like it might burst into flames. He had never mentioned buying a lottery ticket, never celebrated a win, never said a word. I sat there, 1,000 memories replaying in fast forward. The missed vacations. The nights I worked double shifts at the rehab center while he slept in. The arguments over grocery lists and gas money. The betrayal tasted like metal in my mouth. I waited until he got home from work, if work was what you called 3 hours at his buddy's car shop, and handed him the envelope. His face drained of color. He didn't even try to deny it. I was going to tell you, he mumbled, avoiding my eyes. When? After I died? I needed time to figure things out. What does that even mean, Joe? I shouted, my voice shaking. We've been scraping by, and you've been sitting on this? He looked up at me then, eyes hollow, not angry, resigned. I want a divorce, Claire. The words knocked the breath out of me. My body moved before my mind could catch up. I slapped him. The sound was sharp, final. He didn't flinch. Why? I whispered. He shrugged. I've changed. You've changed. I don't want this life anymore. I stood frozen in the middle of our kitchen, surrounded by cracked tiles and unpaid bills. Our life had been hard, yes, but it had been ours. And now it was crumbling because of a secret and a lottery ticket. That night, he packed a duffel bag and left. No goodbye. No explanation. Just silence in a hollow where our marriage had lived. I barely slept. My mind spun with questions. Was he cheating? Had he planned this all along? What kind of man hides a windfall and walks away like I was just another bad investment? In the weeks that followed, the pieces unraveled. A lawyer's letter arrived. He wanted to amicably dissolve the marriage. No mention of the winnings. I was supposed to walk away with nothing. But I wasn't going to let him erase me like that. I didn't know it yet, but this betrayal would break me open in a way I'd never imagined. And from those jagged shards, I would build something new, something fierce. Something mine. Boston in springtime can fool you. Bright blue skies and cherry blossoms blooming along Commonwealth Avenue, pretending everything's fresh and full of promise. But not for me. Not that year. 2 weeks after Joe walked out, I was still waking up in our bed expecting to hear him snoring next to me. Still looking at his coffee mug in the dish rack. Still catching myself planning dinners for two. The betrayal clung to everything, like the mildew creeping along our bathroom ceiling. But I wasn't about to be played like a fool. I made an appointment with a lawyer. Marissa Kaplan, mid-40s, sharp as a tack, and not the type to sugarcoat. Her office smelled of leather and lavender, and I clutched the mysterious bank statement in my purse like a lifeline. She took one look at it and raised an eyebrow. So, let me get this straight. Your husband won over $3 million and never disclosed it to you. Correct. and now he wants a divorce, and he's offering you nothing." I nodded, shame warming my cheeks. She leaned back in her chair, steepling her fingers. "Claire, this is fraud. If we can prove he deliberately hid those winnings, he's not just a selfish jerk, he's potentially committed financial misconduct in the context of divorce proceedings. Massachusetts is an equitable distribution state. That means he doesn't just get to disappear with the money." That was the first time in weeks I felt something other than despair. We filed an injunction to freeze the account. Joe didn't see it coming. The next day, his lawyer, some slick-back Bay type named Trevor Mullins, called mine in a rage. They tried to argue the winnings were post-separation assets. But the timeline was clear. The deposit was made 6 weeks before Joe walked out. He'd been planning his escape. I wanted to scream, cry, burn his car to the ground. But I didn't. Instead, I dug in. While the legal storm brewed, I picked up extra shifts. I scrubbed hospital floors and sat with dementia patients who sometimes thought I was their daughter. I got my nails dirty, my feet sore, and my pride back. At night, I wrote. Journal entries turned into essays. Pain turned into poetry. I had forgotten the way words felt when they poured out of me, unfiltered and raw. I used to dream of being a writer, before life and Bill's and Joe's disappointments drowned those dreams. One Thursday night, I found a folder in the attic labeled Claire's Stories. Pages of my old short fiction, yellowed and bent, wrapped in a red ribbon I had long forgotten. I sat on the floor and read them all, tears slipping down my cheeks. That girl still lived somewhere inside me. Meanwhile, Joe's picture showed up on Instagram, grinning next to some platinum blonde in a Florida resort, drinks in hand. I stared at the screen, heart thudding, but this time it wasn't sadness that rose up. It was anger. Not hot and reckless, but clean and sharp. He thought he could buy freedom and happiness without consequence. But he had underestimated me. Marissa called a week later. He's pushing for mediation. Wants to settle before we go to court. Because he's scared? Because he's losing. And he knows it. I hung up the phone and stood in the middle of my kitchen, the same one he left me in. The same cracked tiles. But I wasn't the same woman. He had gambled on a future without me. He didn't realize I was done playing by his rules. The mediation room smelled like stale coffee and nervous sweat. Joe sat across from me, dressed in a crisp linen shirt, probably his new girlfriend's doing. He looked healthier, tanner, even smug. I hadn't seen that smirk since before his betrayal. But the second his eyes met mine, it faltered. I didn't smile. I didn't flinch. I had come prepared. Marissa laid the evidence on the table, the original bank statement, the dated deposit receipt, our joint tax filings showing no report of the winnings, and documentation of the expenses I had covered, alone, for the last 11 years. I watched as Joe flipped through the pages, the color draining from his face. "I'm offering 50-50, he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. "To make this go away." 50-50? I repeated, tilting my head. "That's generous. Considering you lied, tried to hide everything, and abandoned me like yesterday's trash." Trevor, his lawyer, cleared his throat. "Claire, if we go to court, it'll drag out. Public record. Are you sure you want that?" I sat up straighter. "Oh, I'm sure. The only reason I'm not asking for everything is because I'm not like him." Joe shifted uncomfortably. Marissa slid a revised proposal across the table. 60% of the winnings, plus ownership of the house, and reimbursement for legal fees. She didn't even blink. "That's our final offer." Joe looked like he might protest, but then he saw the steel in my eyes, the way I didn't hesitate. I wasn't the same Claire who once wept when he missed anniversaries or called her dreams foolish. I was the Claire who found her voice, her fight, her damn dignity. He signed. The settlement changed everything and nothing. Yes, I had money. But more importantly, I had a clean slate. I sold the house. Too many memories in the creaking floorboards and faded wedding photos. I moved into a sunny 2-bedroom apartment in Jamaica Plain, close to the park and a cozy indie bookstore with poetry nights and chai lattes. I quit the hospital job and finally enrolled in a creative writing program at Emerson. My professor, a published novelist with eyes like she's seen everything, read one of my essays and said, "This isn't just good. This is real." I cried in the stairwell afterward, not from sadness, but relief. I had finally returned to the person I was before life bent me into someone else. I self-published a collection of personal essays titled 3 Million Lies. It didn't go viral or hit the New York Times list, but it resonated. Women emailed from Boston, Boise, even Belfast, thanking me for writing what they felt but couldn't say. Some of them had stories worse than mine. Some were just beginning their own escape. I read every message. On what would have been our 12th anniversary, I walked the harbor walk alone. The breeze was cool and salty. A street performer played Landslide on an old acoustic guitar, and I paused, letting the lyrics wash over me. It struck me then, I hadn't just survived. I had transformed. Joe's betrayal didn't define me. It freed me. From smallness, from settling, from the quiet suffocation of a life lived on someone else's terms. Now, I write. I laugh. I fall asleep without dread. I have a dog named Penny who steals my socks and a circle of women who remind me what strength looks like on the bad days. And when I think about the moment I found that envelope, the one that started it all, I no longer feel rage. I feel gratitude. Because sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you is the beginning of the best thing you become. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel and enjoy these other amazing stories.